Hey folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Louis Carlin. We're heard right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me again today. If you're watching for the first time here on YouTube, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow our Facebook group, the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Follow me on Twitter at Shooting Up North. I'm on Instagram at Alliance PW Network. Alrighty, MLW Fusion for March 3rd. Of course, is come and gone. I just watched it, so here's my review and recap of MLW Fusion from March 3rd. Okay, so the show starts actually with a recap of last week. Richard Holiday confronting Cesar Duran in his offices, saying that he did what Cesar Duran wanted him to do. Now he deserves a title shot. He wants to get what's coming to him. Cesar Duran says, I always keep my promises, but my hands are tied right now because I've already signed Davey Richards to the title match at Super Fight. But if Davey Richards is taken out, then you would be the perfect replacement for Super Fight for the title shot against Alexander Hammerstone. Now, my thing is, all Cesar Duran has to say is, you know what, you're right. So the winner of Alexander Hammerstone and Davey Richards, whoever wins that match, whoever's the champion after that match is over, you get the first title shot. And that would be that. That would be the end of that. And I mean, Cesar Duran keeping his promise. Richard Holiday will probably be, oh, no, I'm cool with that. Okay. So whoever wins, I get the next title shot. I'm the first line. So cool. But gotta make things a little interesting. So was Cesar Duran saying if someone wants to take out David Richards and he was injured, he couldn't compete, and then you would be you could fill the empty slot in at Super Fight. So we go to another segment, Richard Holiday and Alicia Atout, where Richard Holiday offers a briefcase full of money to anyone that could take out Davey Richards. So Holiday basically put a bounty on the head of Davey Richards. And we'll find out as the match progresses. A few people try to take him up on that offer, try to collect the bounty. But I want to talk about Alicia too for a second. I'm sorry, but I know people might not agree with me here, which is okay. I'm just not sold on a heel Alicia Atout. I'm just not sold on a heel Alicia Atout. Again, comparing her to Selena De La Renta. Selena De La Renta was a natural heel. She was fantastic. She was great as a heel. You just instantly, she can instantly just draw heat just by talking. I just don't see Alicia Atout as a heel. I know Alicia Atout, after years, so don't get me wrong, she's very, very talented in what she does. But years and years of the bubbly, happy, friendly ginger ale drinking Alicia Atout, it's just hard to accept her as a heel, I guess you could say. But again, not taking anything away from her talent. She's super, super talented at what she does. I'm just not seeing her as a heel. I'm sorry. Richard Holiday, on the other hand, is a great heel. He's gonna with this with with him attacking Alexander Hammerstone, he's gonna rise to the top of MLW. But he's fantastic as a heel. But I'm just not seeing Alicia Atout as a heel. I'm sorry. I'm just, and she has this thing with her eyebrows, where she likes to raise her eyebrows a lot. When she's talking or when she's trying to make a point, like when she's like with the money, she's like, "Come at it, boys," and she raises her eyebrows, looks over. So I don't know, just I'm not sure what's going on with the eyebrows. It didn't happen more than once. It's happened a few times when she's raising her eyebrows. But I'm not taking away from her talent. Very, very talented. For me, I'm just not seeing Alicia Atout as a believable heel. But let's give it time and see what happens. Again, I don't like Selena De La Renta. Again, comparing her to Selena De La Renta. Selena De La Renta could go into the ring and cut an amazing heel promo. I don't think Alicia Atout would be able to do that. In my opinion. And of course, you say, well, she's not the one that's going to be cutting the promo. Richard Holiday's going to be cutting the promo. Fine, fair enough. But just leave it at just not accepting Alicia Atout as a heel at this time. But let's see where it goes. So match one was for the MLW Openweight Championship. The champion Alex Kane defending against Calvin Tankman. Now, Alex Kane coming to the ring with Mr. Thomas. Now, I was excited about this one. I was very, very, very excited about this one. MLW really built up this feud Nice lead between Alex Kane and Calvin Tankman, and I was ready for a terrific match. And first of all, I was a little surprised that this was not the main event because the way they built the match, you kind of think it was going to be the main event. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's got to clear my throat. I got my tea with me. It's got a little thing in my throat. Hope it doesn't progress and get worse. Sorry. So I was expecting the way MLW has built up this feud. You know, I was surprised for that. First, it wasn't the main event. This should have been the main event, the way they built it up. But it was the first match opening the show. Okay, great way to open the show. You know, in case anybody's watching, you know, Alex Kane versus Calvin Tankman. If they're watching MLW for the first time, I was thinking it's a great way to open the show. There's draw some fans in, keep them. You know, you have this match that you build up for weeks and weeks and weeks. And anyone that's watching for the first time, or any fans, if they watch this, you know, get ready for this match. They're in for a great one, or so I thought. Right? I thought. I said they're in for a great one, and it will keep the fans tuned in and watch the entire MLW Fusion, and it will get more fans to MLW Fusion by having this opening match. Again, if people aren't watching for the first time and they see Kane versus Calvin Tankman as the opening match, hey, you know, let's give it a try. And like I said, I thought this was going to be one hell of a match. I was pumped up for this one, and this match was just a disappointment. Just a huge disappointment. I mean, they started brawling right off the bat. You know, there was exchanging blows. Tankman was getting the best of Kane. Tankman was controlling to start the match with power moves. He had a nice pounce, and then Kane on the outside grabs the leg of Tankman and wraps it around the rope and starts to work on his knee. And then Mr. Thomas comes in with a lead pipe, and he hits Tankman in the knee a few times with the lead pipe, and Tankman's knee is really hurt. There was one point though where Mr. Thomas is holding the lead pipe in one hand, but he's hitting the knee with his other hand. I mean, you got the lead pipe, use the lead pipe, right? But anyway, he used it a few times, and Tankman's knee was so bad he was barely able to walk that the referee stopped the match. The referee stopped the match, and the match had ended. And man, that was it. That was disappointing. That was a huge disappointment. Like I said, they built up this feud, and they finally give us this one-on-one match, and this is what MLW delivered. This is what I was thinking at this point. I thought it was over, but it wasn't over. We're going to find out in a few moments. Thought the match was over. I was like, man, this is a disappointment. Why are they doing this? Thinking, is Calvin Tankman really hurt? But I don't think he's really hurt. He seemed fine when he walked out. So I don't know if he was really hurt. But anyway, we switched to the back. Because Homicide decided to attack and try to collect the bounty on Davey Richards. So he attacked Davey Richards, but Davey Richards was able to survive Homicide's attack. Then we go back to the ring, and Kane is talking. Alex Kane is talking about Tankman being a quitter. Tankman returns to the match, and the match is back on. The referee stopped the match, but because Calvin Tankman came back to the ring, the referee restarted the match. The match is okay. So after some uninspiring back and forth action, you know, they just didn't gel. You know, they had no chemistry at all. They had zero chemistry in the ring. Calvin Tankman went for a powerbomb, wasn't able to hit it because of his knee. Then Kane rolls him up with a jackknife pin, and the referee counts to 3, and that was it. That was the match. This was just so disappointing. I was so disappointed. This is not a way for MLW to gain new fans at all. Grand Bend, Canada, great place. Visit it if you're ever on vacation. It's just not just a disappointment. I could see people watching MLW for the first time, and like let's give it a shot. I've heard about this Calvin Tankman, Alex Kane feud. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. And they watch this, and they might never watch MLW. This was just bad. This was horrible. Why can't they just give us a good one-on-one match between the two? Have Alex Kane go over, because I know they want to build Alex Kane up as a legitimate MLW Openweight champion. Why just have him go over clean in a great match? I mean, Jacob Fatu against Calvin Tankman was fantastic. Calvin Tankman could have a great match, but this was just disappointing. This was just disappointing. Alex Kane of course, retains, as I said, but just a big disappointment. It was almost, like I said, they have no chemistry at all. I mean, the build up to the match was fantastic, in my opinion. Building it up, the suspense and the storyline and building it up. And when are they going to meet? And Calvin Tankman getting arrested. Alex Kane seemingly trying to avoid stepping in the ring as long as he can with Calvin Tankman, calling him Cryberry Calvin with the t-shirts. The build-up was fantastic, and it ended up with this just fantastically disappointing match. Just a purely disappointing match. Fantastically disappointing. I don't know if I should have said that, if that's a good way to put it, but a purely disappointing match. And post-match, Kane has an interview saying he's the most dangerous man in MLW. To me, didn't really prove it. So I kind of disagree. Didn't prove it in this match, but again, big disappointment. So we got a 5150 promo on how they came from nothing, and 5150 is just getting started. I like 5150 a lot. They cut really intense promos. They're terrific in the ring. So 5150, another decent promo here from 5150. We get a Killer Cross promo video as well. We're gonna find out who Killer Cross's opponent was. I'm just gonna say, when I did my preview and predictions for MLW Super Fight, I predicted a few guys, and I said, I just hope it's not Bud Heavy. I said, I just hope it's not Bud Heavy, because it'd just be a pure squash match, and I don't think the fans would be too happy with that. And I said, I just hope it's not Bud Heavy, and I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so Killer Cross promo video. He returned to MLW at Super Fight, and I said I really hope it's not Bud Heavy. Read between the lines there, okay? Wink, wink. Okay, so Carly Perez, this is weird. It's weird. She gives a stone tablet or little stone table, a round stone table to King Muertes, promising that this little stone tablet or stone or table will make him a god. And King Muertes will said, "Oh God." And not sure what that tablet or little table is for. I don't know what it means. I'm sure we'll find out in the weeks to come how this little stone table or tablet is going to make King Muertes a god. So we'll find out. We'll find out. Sorry, I haven't been a fan of the Azteca Underground stuff. I'm sorry. Just haven't been a fan of it. So then match 2, we get Casey Navarro against Ho Ho Lun. Okay, I was like, all right, so here we go. Casey Navarro, Ho Ho Lun. We're going to get two, it's going to be a fast-paced, exciting match. So here we go. So, but before the match started, though, the Saito brothers were shown in the back attacking Davey Richards. So the Saito, All Japan Pro Wrestling Saito brothers attacking Davey Richards, but Richards was able to fight them off with a pool cue. So he was able, they happened to be a pool cue in the vicinity, so he was able to pull it off the wall, and he was able to use it on the Saito brothers and fended off the attack of the Saito brothers. So Casey Navarro, Ho Ho Lun. Actually, we did to start the match was actually fast-paced action. Casaro did Casey Navarro did a nice suicide dive to the outside on Ho Ho Lun, which was a good spot. And then they cut off the match and they go to a backstage confrontation between Alex Kane and ACH. We're getting some Alex Kane overkill because it's not the end of Alex Kane, but backstage confrontation, Alex Kane, ACH trying to get at Alex Kane trying to get at ACH, people holding them back. But then we go back to the match, and they each get Ho Ho Lun and Casey Navarro. They get in offensive moves as the match progresses. Navarro eventually hits a lung blower and his Jesus Piece finisher to win the match. The winner of the match is Casey Navarro. Except for the opening segment, I thought this was another disappointing match. I was expecting something much better. They did have a nice little opening segment, but it just kind of went downhill from there. I was expecting a lot more from these two. I know these two are very talented. I think this is Ho Ho Lun's debut, if I'm not mistaken. It could be his return. I think I'm not going to check, but it's either his return or his debut to MLW. The fans were dead. The fans were like whisper quiet, except for one Ho Ho Lun chant they made, but they were whisper quiet for this one. They weren't into it, and it was a bit of a disappointing match. A bit of a disappointing match. I don't know if they were trying to play off Casey Navarro because he was injured a few weeks ago at the hands of Enzo. If they were playing that, oh, he's injured, so he's not at 100%. They could have been going in that direction, but that was another disappointing match. Casey Navarro, of course, going over here in this one made sense because he's got the big match coming up against Enzo, or he already had the match, but it hasn't been on Fusion yet, so he has a match coming up with Enzo. But Casey Navarro did a post-match interview. He cuts a promo on Enzo and challenges him to a grudge match. And he actually he gets fired up and calls Enzo a bitch. So, but he challenges him to a grudge match. It's weird, because the match has already happened, right? The match has already happened. MLW should know that the fans know that the match has already happened. But since it hasn't aired on Fusion, it technically hasn't happened. So it's weird hearing him challenging Enzo to a grudge match when I know full well that the match has already happened. So. But again, I get it. It's Fusion tapings, so if it hasn't hit TV yet, then it hasn't, or hasn't hit YouTube yet, then it hasn't happened. So okay. But he challenged him to a grudge match, and as I said, he calls Enzo a bitch. He gets fired up and calls him a bitch, and that's when things get that's when things get real, right? That's when things get real. Navarro calls Enzo a bitch, but I'm looking forward to their match. I'm sure it was a great one. Then we had Gnarls Garvin and Bud Heavy drinking beer in a segment. Garvin says that he yells out he can't believe that they lost to the Saito brothers. The way he said it was fantastic. You have to see the segment. I'm not going to do a Gnarls Garvin impersonation. He says they have to fight harder and meaner. Bud says everything that Gnarls Garvin says, Bud Heavy says that he'll drink to that until finally he takes a sip of beer and he falls out of his chair and he's passed out drunk. This was hilarious. I'm kind of digging the team of Gnarls Garvin and Bud Heavy. Gnarls Garvin is a modern day Stan Hansen, and Stan Hansen and Terry Gordy rolled into one package. He's just I am a big fan of Gnarls Garvin. I love Gnarls Garvin in and out of the ring. He reminds me of Stan Hansen and Terry Gordy, and it's obvious those are who his inspirations are. And he just does a fantastic job. Bud Heavy. Great for comical relief. Great for comical relief. Him falling out of the chair and after saying, I'll drink to that, he passed out drunk. It was just hysterical. I had a good laugh. I'm digging this team. I hope they stay together for a bit. I just hope Bud Heavy isn't Killer Cross's opponent at Super Fight. I just hope they give we get a decent match for Killer Cross and it's not Bud Heavy. Read between the lines, folks. Okay, so, and Emilio Sparks interviews Kane backstage. Actually, let's go back for a second. I wonder if we're going to get Gnarls Garvin and Bud Heavy in a rematch against the Saito brothers. I'd love to see that, man. I think that'd be great. Again, I want to see more of Bud Heavy and Gnarls Garvin. I think they have good chemistry there together. It's Gnarls Garvin is the serious, tough guy type, and Bud Heavy is the comic relief. So it's almost like Bud Abbott, Lou Costello, right? So it's great stuff. Great stuff there. So Emilio Sparks interviews Kane. So we're getting more Alex Kane. This is like the Alex Kane show. It's over Alex Kane overkill. Kane says that he destroyed Calvin Tankman. Then Calvin Tankman shows up and runs at top speed at Kane. His knee seemingly is miraculously healed, right? So he runs top speed at Alex Kane. But before he reaches Alex Kane, this segment ends. So that was more disappointment because I wanted to thought, all right, they're going to go at it again. But the segment kind of ended right as Calvin Tankman reached Alex Kane, so the segment ended. Then we see Davey Richards being confronted by Homicide and the Saito brothers. There's an elevator behind him. The elevator opens up and there's King Huertas. I wonder if he's become a god yet from that stone tablet. But he's standing there. This is a scary looking dude, man. So King Huertas, Saito brothers, and Homicide, they attack Davey Richards, but Hammerstone runs in, makes the save because I guess he wants Dave Richards to be 100% for their match, and makes the save, fend off Homicide, Saito brothers, the King Huertas, and then Hammerstone and David Richards have a bit of a stare down, and all is okay with David Richards. Okay, this seemed like there was a lot of. I understand this. Like I said, this would have worked better if Holiday made the put the bounty on his head like 3-4 weeks ago. Then we could have 3-4 weeks of wrestlers chasing him. Now it just seems like they're just so quickly throwing in this, these segments where everyone suddenly is going to be chasing David Richards. It almost seems like filler. I enjoy the bounty. I'm a fan of the bounty. I remember when Harley Race put a bounty on Ric Flair's head, and Cowboy Bob Martin, Dick Slater attempted to. Actually, they did. They actually were able to. They took out Ric Flair, so it's reminiscent of that. But Harley Race put the bounty on his head like weeks and weeks ahead of their match in 1983. It was Starcade of Flair for the gold. So he put the bounty on Flair's head weeks before that match in 1983. But here, Holiday has given wrestlers 49 minutes to basically collect the bounty. But it would have the Saito brothers were interesting pick here because I think 5150. I think they're tailor made for this storyline. They're tailor made for wanting to collect a briefcase full of cash. Like I'm confused why what's the Saito brothers trying to do it and not trying to collect not 5150 or both or Holiday confronting or not confronting Holiday approaching 5150 and saying, I will give you guys this briefcase full of money if you take out Davey Richards. I think that would have made more sense. I think then we could see then we could have seen a weeks of segments of 5150 trying to take out Davey Richards, and Homicide could have joined him as well because basically he's part of 5150. They could have even recruited someone like Hernandez to come in and help them out to trying to collect the bounty. That would have been a better storyline, in my opinion. But here we quickly threw together Homicide, the Saito brothers, the King Martes. And if King Martes has a chance to become a god, does he need a briefcase full of money? Does he really need a briefcase? Does a god really need a briefcase full of money? But anyway, I think it would have been better if Holiday just approached 5150 and said, "Look, if anyone could do it, you guys could." And then that really would have made things interesting if it was done like 3 weeks ago. But here it just seems like they're throwing a bunch of segments together really fast because they only have 49 minutes to collect the bounty put on the head of Davey Richards, right? So all right, so we'll leave that. So let's go to the next. So then we go into match 3. Match 3 was the MLW Middleweight Championship match. It was Tajiri versus Myron Reed versus Matt Cross versus a mystery opponent. So Cesar Duran, going into it, I think most people knew who the mystery opponent was going to be as the match took place a while ago. So Cesar Duran comes out, gives a inspired speech, trying to pump up the crowd, and then he introduces Bandido, which is fantastic. Bandido, tremendous talent. Getting Bandido was huge for MLW. So it's Tajiri defending his MLW Middleweight Championship against Myron Reed, Macross, and Bandido. Early on in the match, Bandido showed off his skills, going one-on-one with Tajiri, Reed, and Cross. I was really just interested in seeing Reed and Bandido one-on-one. I think if they had a one-on-one match, it would be absolutely just pure fire. But it's obvious that they were showcasing Bandido in the beginning. Bandido, the Ring of Honor. He holds one version of the Ring of Honor World Championship. Didn't come out with the belt. They didn't mention Ring of Honor at all. It would have been cool if he came out with the belt, but I think that would have taken away from the MLW Middleweight Championship. So he did come out with the title. It wasn't billed as a Ring of Honor World Champion. So Bandido, the big name free agent who walked through the MLW's open door policy. So it just makes sense that he's showcased early on in this match. So then we had some decent back and forth action, some good spots. Tajiri, there was some spots that didn't really come off so well because it looked kind of fake, right? I know it's professional wrestling, it's fake, but you got to make it look real. There's one part where it was Reed had Bandido. Was it Bandido across? I think it was had Bandido up on his shoulder, or Tajiri. He had somebody up on his shoulders, and Matt Cross climbing up to the top rope. And now the spot was supposed to be Cross jumping on to whoever Myron Reed was holding, and they would somersault. So Myron Reed walks over to the corner, and Cross is on the top rope. He's looking to the crowd, and Myron Reed is just standing there, like for seemingly like for too long, a few seconds too long. He's just standing there waiting for Cross to jump. It's almost like he had a look on his face, like, "Come on, dude, I look stupid, right? I look stupid just standing here holding." I can't remember if it was Tajiri or Bandido, but whoever he was holding, I look stupid here holding this guy. Just do the move already. But Cross is looking to the crowd, and finally he hits the spot. It just didn't come off very good. And there was Tajiri actually attempted to do a tarantula on Myron Reed, and he looked like he had trouble getting it on, and Myron Reed had to shift his arms to help him out to get the tarantula on. But other than that, it was a decent match. It was one point, like I said, the most excited I got was when Reed and Bandido were in the ring together one-on-one. They did go chop for chop, Reed and Bandido. The end of the match occurred basically with this sequence. Bandido gets misted by Tajiri. He wanted to miss Myron Reed, but Myron Reed got out of the way, and he hit the green mist on Bandido. Cross hit a double springboard cutter to Bandido, and Reed. Then Cross goes for a shooting star press onto Bandido, but Myron Reed catches him mid-flight and hits a cutter, much like Randy Orton did to Evan Bourne in the WWE. They don't want to reference that, but I'm sure I didn't see it on social media, but I'm sure that if we go to social media, we'll see that they'll make a comparison to both that match and the Evan Bourne Randy Orton match, but it's basically the same thing. But he caught him mid-flight, hit a cutter, and Myron Reed is victorious and regains the championship. This was expected for me when Tajiri won the MLW Middleweight Championship. I knew it was temporary. I knew it was just to bring the MLW Middleweight Championship to Japan to strengthen the All Japan Pro Wrestling MLW relationship. I knew it was temporary. I knew Myron Reed was going to regain the title, and that's what he did here. Becomes a three-time champion, regains the championship. Myron Reed, just a fantastic talent. Now I think it's time, now that the Tajiri reign is over, maybe we'll get Myron Reed against Tajiri. Tajiri could say that you didn't pin me for the title. We could go one-on-one. Myron Reed will be victorious over Tajiri. If that happened in Japan, in All Japan Pro Wrestling, that would be just fantastic. But there are other challenges out there that I think that Myron Reed, I would love to see Myron Reed step in the ring with for the title. There's Arez and Aramis. Arez and Aramis would be great opponents for Myron Reed, for them to chase the MLW Middleweight Championship. I think that would be fantastic. I think those should be the next two opponents for Myron Reed. Myron Reed versus Arez and Aramis for the MLW Middleweight Championship would be fantastic. We'll love Bandido to come back. Bandido one-on-one with Myron Reed would be just fantastic as well. So there's a lot of potential challenges out there for Myron Reed. And again, with the All Japan Pro Wrestling relationship, Stuki Ayagi coming in would be great. They have young talents in New Japan Pro Wrestling they could send in as well to be opponents for Myron Reed. So lots of possibilities for Myron Reed, but I enjoyed the match. As I said, I knew Tajiri's reign was going to end. I had a feeling Myron Reed was going to win this one, and just spoiler alert, I knew this weeks ago that Myron Reed had won, but of course they couldn't officially call him the MLW Middleweight Championship because the match hadn't aired yet. But I knew he won, and Myron Reed is definitely calls himself the young goat, and he's definitely living up to that title as the young goat. So Again, the formula of this match was very simple: showcase Bandido, get the title back on Reed. So that's basically was the formula for this match. Showcase Bandido, which they did, and get the title back on Reed. The match again had good spots, and again, Bandido versus Reed would be absolutely amazing if they were able to. If Bandido ever came back, I'm not sure what's going on with Tony Khan's Ring of Honor, but Bandido versus Myron Reed for the MLW Middleweight Championship would be just fantastic, just fantastic. So then we got another hype video for Richards versus Hammerstone, and one more thing I just wanted to point out. At one point in the middle of the show and at the end of the show, they said next week we're gonna get 5150 versus the Von Erichs at Super Fight. This is very confusing. This is very confusing because Super Fight was advertised for weeks on end as 5150 versus EJ Nduka and a mystery partner, and the Von Erichs versus Ricky and Kerry Morton. So I'm not sure why that they're advertising 5150 versus the Von Erichs at Super Fight. That match didn't happen, but they're still advertising it. I mean, again, for weeks on end, Super Fight, they were advertising. And I went on social media. I said, maybe the match happened, maybe, but the match didn't take place. That match didn't 5150 versus the Von Erichs didn't take place at Super Fight. 5150 took on EJ Nduka and a mystery partner. I know the result of that match, but in case you don't know, I'm not gonna give away the ending. And the Von Erichs versus Kerry and Ricky Morton was advertised as well for weeks. So I'm not sure why on this show on March 3rd that they're advertising 5150 versus the Von Erichs at Super Fight, because that match clearly didn't happen unless it was a dark match that didn't make it to social media. I don't know. That'd be a terrific match. Terrific match. 5150 versus Von Erichs. I think that's the feud that they should have been concentrating on. Actually, they were going to do that. But the Von Erichs unfortunately came down with COVID. They got COVID-19. I don't know if they both did, but one of them did. I'm not sure which one. So they had to cancel the match. But that's a great feud right there. 5150 and the Von Erichs, tailor-made for MLW. But just at Super Fight, 5150 versus the Von Erichs just didn't happen. Didn't happen. I'm not sure why they're still advertising it on TV. I mean, very simple. Just edit it out. That's all. Even maybe these maybe that was the original plan. Maybe that was the original plan, and these Fusion was taped and edited weeks ago, and they decided, yeah, we'll just come up with something next week, and we'll explain why the match isn't happening. So that's probably what they did. So this week the match, the Fusion was kind of disappointing. I'm still disappointed at the opening match. Alex Kane versus Calvin Tankman. Very, very disappointed in that one. Disappointed a bit in the second match as well. So it wasn't the greatest MLW Fusion episode that I've seen. But nonetheless, MLW is kind of loyal fan of me. I'm not going anywhere. But I'm just calling it like it is, right? Calling it like it is. Got to be honest, right? So looking forward to next week. Super Fight is next week. Hammerstone versus Davey Richards is next week. Showing a few other matches. It's not going to be 5150 versus the Von Erichs. So that match is not happening next week. They did advertise Calvin Tankman versus ACH versus Alex Kane for MLW Openweight Championship. I can't remember. I should have wrote it down. I don't know if that's going to be for next week or if that's coming up in the weeks ahead. But next week, Super Fight. Can't wait for that one. Looking forward to it. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening to me today. Hope you enjoyed my MLW Fusion for March 3rd recap and review. And I'll be back next week with another recap and review of MLW Super Fight. So until then, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. And stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye-bye.